Okay, everybody, welcome back to Genesis class, live from Jerusalem with Rabbi Chaim Goldberg of the Noahide World Center. We want you to catch the Torah wave. It's always an exciting class. I know I missed last week, but I have been working lots of night shift hours, walking the beat as a frontline worker against the opioid crisis here in British Columbia. So we're trying to save lives and fight crime and shine light in this world. It's a tough act, but we can do it with the Torah, especially as intended out of the nation of Israel. So let's just tune right in and see how the rabbi's doing today. And yeah. All right, Rabbi, you're live on the air. We're going to turn it over to you. And so it's your class. So glad to be with you today.
Good evening, everybody. Those who are in the class, those who are on the internet, and those who will see it later on. First of all, have a blessing week and a lot of blessings from Jerusalem. Good to see you all. I think the best thing to do now is to jump straight ahead inside. We're going to speak tonight a bit about the secret of the will. The will that is being mentioned in Genesis few times, and we need to understand it at least in two levels. There are more levels, but at least two levels that we're going to speak about. I saw in a very careful eyes, I read it twice, okay, all the things that you sent me, it's great, but it's between the second and the third level, so slowly, let's go step by step. So at the beginning, let's first of all read a few verses to understand the situation, and then we will go drill inside to the well. To drill to the well, it's going together, okay? So let's share the screen for a moment, and Dan, as usual, please read the verses from 22. We're going to read it till the end of the chapter. It's a special, unique Persian. Okay, please.
Awesome. 1 second, Rabbi. I just got to juggle the screen around here for 1 second. And I got it positioned. Okay, verse 22. Are we on chapter 21?
Yes, we're on chapter
21 of Genesis, starting at verse 22. Now, it came to pass at that time that Abimelech and Phicol, his general, said to Abraham, saying, Hashem is with you in all that you do, and now swear to me hereby, Hashem, that you will not lie to me or to my son or to my grandson. According to the kindness that I have done with you, you shall do with me and with the land wherein you have sojourned. And Abraham said, I will swear. And Abraham contended with Abimelech about the well of water that the servants of Abimelech had forcibly seized. And Abimelech said, I do not know who did this thing, neither did you tell me, nor did I hear of it until today.
Continue.
And Abraham took flocks and cattle and gave them to Abimelech, and they both formed a covenant. And that was from verse 27, verse 28. And Abraham placed 7 ewe lambs by themselves. And Abimelech said to Abraham, what are these 7 ewe lambs which you have placed by themselves? And he said, for these 7 ewe lambs you shall take from my hand, in order that it be to me for a witness that I dug this well. Therefore he named the place Beersheba, for there they both swore. And they formed a covenant in Beersheba, and Abimelech, and can you scroll down, Rabbi? Abimelech and
Phicol, his general.
Phicol, his general, arose, and they returned to the land of the Philistines.
This is enough. This is the story here. Let's start step by step. First of all, to understand the situation. The situation is that there is the people in Palestine. We all know this name, okay? In Palestine, there are people that are fighting against Abraham or trying to organize a peace agreement with Abraham. At the beginning, they're starting with a peace agreement, at the beginning, they fought against Abraham. They saw that they can't do that, so they tried to do peace agreement with Abraham. The Palestinian people with Abraham. A bit reminding me something in the last few years of history, something interesting. Now, first of all, we need to remember, just for a moment, that I'm jumping a bit ahead, okay? In the next chapter, there are two verses that we need to continue in this chapter, but we'll do this later on. At the next chapter, God is asking Abraham to take his son and to sacrifice him in front of God. And we need to understand why God did that. And the reason is very simple, because Abraham here is willing to do some sort of a, how do you say it, covenants, okay? Covenants. They formed the covenants, okay, in Beersheba. We have to do, today we have the city, Beersheba. They did a covenant with Abraham. But if we will think for a moment, what was the covenant about? The covenant was that they are not going to fight, not Abraham and Abimelech, not the sons, not the grandsons, all of those generations are not going to fight one with each other. So God said to Abraham, I'm sorry, I gave you son when you were 100 years old in a miracle way, so you will inherit this land. Now you are willing to give portion of this land to the Palestinian people, so give me back your son. Again, you with me? This is
wow.
It's very deep, but this is what's happening here. There are most of our, I will say, sages think that what Abraham did here wasn't the right way to behave. And this is why he got after that, in the next chapter, that God is saying to him, give me your son. I gave you your son. I gave you this son that you will inherit this land, but you did a covenant. You don't want this land, so give me back your son. You don't need your son. This is one point that we need to mention as the beginning of this story, okay? So this is the first thing. Second point that we can see here is that when Abraham is saying to Abimelech, okay, that about the well of water that was servant Abimelech had, how do you say it? Forcibly seized? How do you say
Forcibly seized.
Forcibly seized. So Abimelech is answering a very interesting answer. And I need to understand why he is giving 3 reasons why he is innocent. I do not know who did this thing.
Denial.
Neither you tell me, nor did I heard of it until today. Why do you need to say 3 things? Say
every
one
excuse in the book.
Yeah, so the meaning of this is that there is no one good excuse. I was a teacher a long time ago, I was a principal, a teacher. When someone gave me few excuses, I knew that there is no one good excuse. So they're saying another one and another one and another one. No one is really the truth. If you have a good excuse, you will say it. If you don't have a good excuse, you will say a lot of excuses.
Yeah, I was asleep last week, Rabbi, which is why I missed the broadcast. No excuse. I was actually asleep.
I need to speak with your parents. It's not enough. But you see, this is what's happening here. Now, again, I think that it's very interesting to see that we find something similar in our days today, okay, with the discussion that we have with the Palestinian people. It's amazing how the history is coming back. With all of those more and more excuses and things that they're saying about what is happening, or that we capture them, or whatever it is. I won't go inside to what's happening today. You know what? I will say two sentences that it will be clear. The world decide. I won't go inside to this now. Okay, it's a very. It's also a political issue. I don't want to go inside to this too much. Okay, fine. So this is. Those are the 2 points that I wanted to start with, that we will understand. Another point that I will mention, that King David. Now we're speaking about few generations later on. Okay, when King David is trying to capture Gaza area. And also now we're starting to understand why in the beginning of the settlement of the Hebrew people, after they came back from Egypt, they didn't capture the Gaza area because there was here some sort of a covenant between Abraham and the Gaza people. And the covenant will get strengthened again with Isaac. We'll speak about this later on. So we have here a covenant, but there is also something interesting about something similar with the Jerusalem area that God, just a moment, let me see. That God, if you can mute yourself so it will help others not to get too much. We have something similar with the Jerusalem. It says there that when King David wanted to capture Jerusalem, so they sent him that they don't want to. Who are those Hebrew people that are a bit blind and a bit? I'm going. How do you say this? On the foot, but not. One of your legs is broken, so you, God forbid, so you going with a
crutch,
crunch or something, and you're not going straight. And they are hinting in those verses about Isaac, who at the end of his days didn't saw the blind people, and about Jacob, who was also crunched from the angel with the fight of the angel. And the same thing was there also, that we had some sort of covenant of not capturing Jerusalem, not capturing Gaza. Now, King David said it's already more than 4 generations and we are allowed, and they did a lot of things. So till here, we spoke about, I will say, the most simplest level of what is happening in this story. Now let's go a bit more inside. And to understand this story in a bit more profound way, I need to put Rashi here. Rashi, the commentator Rashi, just a moment, let's put him on. And we will see for a moment something a bit interesting about the well. And we need to explain this a bit. And this is where I asked you to look a bit about the well and what is happening. When they are fighting about who dwelled this well.
Who dug the well, yes.
Who did it? Who worked hard to find the water and the well? So please read that
I dug this well. Abimelech's shepherds were contending about it and saying, "We dug it." They agreed among themselves that whoever would appear beside the well and the water would rise toward him, the well was his. And the waters, rose towards Abraham.
Okay, so the first thing I want to say, let's speak a few minutes about water in this world. Okay, we all know that the human body is contained from something between 60 to 70% of water. We all know that. It's a very simple
reality,
scientific reality, okay, that we all know. The water is being called in the rain. Okay, the water is being called in our sources something that the way that God is giving life. We have, when we pray in the second blessing, there is that we're saying also that God is giving life and renewing the life. How God is renewing the life? By sending water,
abundance of
rain, from the rain. Now, in the Hebrew tradition, I think in the Hebrew language, I think we said it last week also. The word, there's 2 different words. There is the word of water, and there's also the word of rain. The word rain, it's raining, it's pouring. Okay, the old man is snoring, or is whatever it is. When you say that it's raining, in Hebrew, the word raining is the word geshem, and it says basically that there is something in a spiritual level that is becoming to reality in our world. You're taking something from heaven and it's becoming water, reality. It's something foggy there, and here it's already water. So you took something that is a spiritual side, heaven, and you brought it to reality of physical something.
Right.
Okay.
Dira
The truth is,
betaktonim.
okay. The truth is that till today, the scientific world don't really know 2 points. They don't know exactly. They don't know exactly the roots of every drop. They don't know how to measure it. They don't know how to calculate it. They don't know. And the second thing, they don't know how exactly it's becoming like that, from or when exactly it will become raining or not raining. They know to simulate, something approximately, more or less, something like that. But exactly to say that this will
Chance
become
of
raining.
precipitation.
Okay, you said it in the right words. And exactly how the drop is going to go, or the line of the drop from up there to here, and how it's becoming exactly from something foggy towards the rain. This is something that it's a bit mysterious still, also to the science world. So we have last week we had here the last Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, something
Yes,
very
you had
unique.
snow, I heard.
Exactly, we had a very nice snow here in my area. I'm very high. I'm up more than 900 meters on the a mountain. So we have snow, we have rain, we have a bit hard rain that is coming. This is basically going from up there towards us. We have on the other side all sorts of things that are coming from outside the ground, outside, springing out. Okay, it could be the well, it could be not the well, sorry, it could be the, how do you call it, the river. Okay, it's not the river. The river is too high, it's too big. I'm speaking about the springing small rivers. How do you say it again?
A stream. I have one of those artesian wells, a stream on the back of my proproperty. It just comes from the ground.
Just coming from the ground. Okay, a stream that is coming from the ground. So this is coming from downstairs towards us. Okay, and we have also the rivers and the big oceans and other places that are holding the water, and it's very big. Usually the rivers are not salty. You can drink from them. Also the springs are not salty and you can drink from them. And so we have those and those. Now, what is the uniqueness of the spring is basically it's going and it's taking the rock. Now the rock is something that is very fixed. For thousands of years, it will be the same thing in the same place, unless one of the people will move it, something like that. This is the most solid thing that we have in this world, the rock. And the water is just the opposite way around. It's something that is giving a life, moving, okay, with a lot of energy inside. And the spring, those springs, how do you call it, Travis? You said it in a different word.
It's an artesian well is what we call it over here. It just naturally comes from the ground. It just naturally comes up anywhere that it gets a crack in the surface.
Fine.
What
And
about geysers? What about geysers that come up from the ground?
It's similar to the geysers, but the geysers it's unique. You don't find it a lot. The spring that is going out, I lost the words. You need to write it down. And the thing there, so I will manage to say it again. But this is something that is showing that the world is not only in one stable, fixed situation, but it also can renew itself. Okay, something that it's a bit like that. This is more or less on a nature level. We have from up there, we have from down there, and we have also these unique springs that are going outside. And still we have another two things that are combining together, both human and nature. One of them is the places where people are organizing that the rain won't spread over, but it will stay closed in one place. I know that in Australia, for example, I know that because I was there and I looked and all those things. I know that only in Australia, in Melbourne, and also in somewhere place in Canada, there are something like 12 or 13 places like that until the water is coming to the pipes to every house. So it's very clean. And this is something that basically they're taking underground, organizing that the water will be there. And there's also a very unique situation of drilling the well. Now, to drill the well is also a very unique. I don't know who ever tried to drill a well. Today we do this with a lot of caterpillars and all the other machines that we have. But in those days, it was very hard, and there are 3 stages. The first part is very hard, and you need to drill very long inside, and you don't see anything. The second part is that it's the beginning of the water, but it's very sour water, very dirty waters. It's not good. A lot of people also going away then. It won't give us anything. And if you're continuing on to dwell or more, so then good waters are going out. But it's a combination of human efforts and God's giving us water, the nature. It's a combination of those two together. Now we all remember, let's jump for a moment back to Genesis chapter 1. I will do this in another. Okay, in Genesis chapter 1, we remember that every day we have, again, it was darkness
He called
night.
the light day and the darkness he called night, and it was evening and it was morning one day.
One day, and then we're continuing on, and again with the second day, right? Where it is. It was evening, it was morning, second day, and then we're continuing on for the third day, right? It was evening, it was morning, the third day, and then we have the fourth day. Remember that? Remember that we spoke about this when we learned it. Something that I'm reminding everybody from a long time ago. Fourth day. Then let's continue on. The same thing with the fifth day, right? It was evening, it was morning, fifth day. And then we have the sixth day also. Let's close the sixth day. It was evening, it was morning, it was the sixth day. Now let's look for a moment what is happening in the seventh day. What is happening in the seventh day? Now the heavens and earth were completed and all their host, right? And God blessed the seventh day and he hallowed it. For they abstain from all his work that God created to do. It never closed. The seventh day never closed. And what we explained more than once, that the seventh day is not finished yet. God is sitting aside, okay, watching from aside, and he is waiting that men will complete what God created, so he will be able to close the seventh day. At the end of history, God will say, it was evening, it was morning, seventh day. It's all related with a combination or working together between God and that he created and human, what he did here. We also mentioned, for example, the difference of how man got the fire. We all know that if you will go to the Mowgli movie of Walt Disney, I'm sure that you all saw this movie with your grandkids, okay? So the Mowgli movement, that he was there in India or something like that. So one of the things that the monkey is asking him, teach me the secret of the fire. One of the most uniqueness part of the of the human being is the fire. That is he can control the fire. It's not only light and darkness, but it's also organizing, I will say, the forming everything in this world. So we are using the fire in the way that we want to control it. We are unique from the animals, from that. In the mythology of the old Greeks, how exactly people got the fire, by stealing it from the aliens. In the Hebrew tradition, the fire God showed Adam, okay, 2 stones, and he said to him, work them together and you will find the fire. So God gave him something from the nature and asked him to do something. It's not a competition with God. God is helping him to build this world. This is the meaning, the most simplest way of meaning of well. Well is where we find the relationship between God and who created this nature and man who is organizing this nature, so we will be able to live here in this place. In the old days, it was very important. This was the way how to control an area. In the old days, this was the place where all the people came in the morning with their all the shepherds and everything else to organize their place to drink. And in the same time, also all the women came there to bring water to their home. So the well was the most important place where they worked hard to organize it, to find this well, to find the places of the well. I will show this for you for a moment in another verse that we have. Let me say that I'm in the right place. No, I'm not. Another 2 backwards, I'm sorry. We have here, it is, in chapter number 29, okay? When Jacob is going to the people of the East, to his family. And please read verse number 2. Dan, are you awake enough to read it?
Sorry, Rabbi, I got somebody asking me 1,000 questions.
Not a problem.
Okay, verse 2 says, and he looked, and behold, a well in the field, and behold, 3 flocks of sheep laying beside it, because from that well they would water the flocks, and a huge rock was upon the mouth of the well.
You can read also verse number 3.
And all the flocks would gather there, and they would roll the rock off the mouth of the well and water the sheep. And then they would return the rock onto the mouth of the well to its place.
So we see again, the well is a very important point where all of the people are coming inside. Now they're even not really counting one on each other. They don't trust one each other. So they put there something very heavy. So everybody would need to get the assistance of his friend. So they won't be able to steal water one from each other. It's only together. And then the continuous of this story is that also the girls went there to bring water, and there Jacob found his wife Rachel, and the continuous of the story, you know the continuous of the story. So well is a very important place. Now, what we see here, it's not the first time that the well is being mentioned in chapter 21. It's not the first time that the well is being mentioned. But what we see here, it's another very important point, and I will go, it's the next level of understanding. The well basically is also showing the blessings that God is giving to this world. It's you doing your work, you're working hard, you're using the nature in the right way, and God is blessing you by giving you back the water, okay, in this world. And this is what we read in Rashi. This is exactly what we read. They agreed between them that the one that the water will go towards him, the water is the blessing. He is the one that willed this well, and it belongs to him. But it's also a metaphor. The metaphor is, Abraham is saying, I have something, blessings. I have blessings to give to this world, and I'm trying to bring it out and to spread it to the world. And what exactly the shepherds of Abimelech are doing? Closing it. They don't want it. It's another level of understanding of what is happening here. And we will find it again also with Isaac and his people. Okay, so if we will jump ahead, okay, we're here in 21, right? Let's jump few. I think it's here, if I remember correctly. We're jumping few. Oh, no. Sorry. 26. Let's go to 26, I think. Let's see. Okay. In 20, we are in 26, right? We are in 26, exactly. So if we can read for a moment, we're speaking about Isaac, okay? So please read verses number 12 till 15.
All right, 12. And Isaac sowed in that land, and he found in that year 100-fold, and the Lord blessed him. And the man became great, and he grew constantly greater until he had grown very great. And he had possessions of sheep and possessions of cattle and much production, and the Philistines envied him. And all the wells that his father's servants had dug in the days of Abraham, his father of the Philistines, stopped them up and filled them with earth.
Another situation, the same situation. Someone here is trying to bless the people around, not only in the physical level, but more than that. And there are people who don't want this blessing. They will stuff it up. If you will think about this for a moment, now look, I'm speaking very exact, but very careful. Okay, if you will think about this for a moment, when they are stuffing, when they are closing those wells, who is getting injured from that? Not only
Everybody.
Isaac, also them.
Yes.
Okay, let's speak for a moment about being, I will say, doing a terror attack by putting a bomb on yourself, God forbid, okay, and going and killing others by committing suicide. You're not only damaging others, you're killing yourself. It's the same logic. Since then till today, it's on the same realm. Think about this for a moment. It's not only not, there are those who are trying to give blessings to the world, who are trying to give life to this world, who are trying to give more the words of God inside here, how to bring more life. And there are those who are preferred to be like the bees. What is happening with the bee? When the bee is biting someone, she's dying. Okay? So this is what they're trying, they don't care. Don't give us blessing, we all prefer to die. Don't give us anything. It's one of the most important understanding of what is happening between till today, between the Palestinian and the Hebrew nation. Okay, don't go only to those days. We can learn here a lot from what we have today also with this thing. And this is also why we will find that Jacob is finding his wife on the well, why Isaac, the servant, will find his wife on the well, and why Moses in Exodus chapter 2 will find his wife on the well. The well is the place where you can find more life. In all those places, it says that the water came up to them, just like we read before that with the Rashi in Abraham. And the meaning of this is, again, that the blessing, the life, water is life. Water is the continuous of life, okay? And the blessing is coming towards those who wants to bless the world. And there are those who are trying and fighting very much. I will, for a moment, I must show this for a moment. There are three, at this time, okay, Abimelech is asking Isaac to, at this point of time, Abimelech is asking Isaac to go away. You're much greater than us, go away. Okay, you become stronger than us, than me, than we are, go away, go away. After that, he will try to do a covenant of peace, the same thing like Abraham, and Isaac will agree with him. It will be called again Beersheba with other reasons. But we have here three wells. Okay, 3 wells. Now, the first one is living water, and the second one will be, say, another well. It will be named Sitna. Sitna in Hebrew is a lot of hateness and fighting one with each other. And the third one is it's called Rehovot. Rehovot in Hebrew is wider, opening, much greater than what I can do. And so one of our sages, the Ramban, Rabbi Moshe ben Nachman, okay, he was also related very much with the Kabbalah side. He is saying something amazing. He is saying this is something that is reminding us the 3 temple mounts that we have. In the first one,
Emanuela, can you mute your microphone?
in the first one, they broke it down, the Temple Mount.
Thank you.
The second one, they were against us very much. And the third temple, that hopefully we're going to build it up very soon, it will be very wide for all of the people of the world. So the well here is coming to another level where we can find it as a relationship, the connection that God has with this world, the Temple Mount. This is another level of understanding what is the will. I'm going, from one step to another step, as that you will realize what is happening. And I want to show for a moment another level of the will. Okay, another, it's the same thing, but it's also written down here, and this will bring us a bit to what Bart sent me. Okay, if I'm going to back to chapter 21, the well is being mentioned already in verse number 19. Please read verse number 19.
19 says, and God opened their eyes, and she saw a well of water, and she went and filled the pouch with the water and gave to the lad to drink.
So we spoke about this last week, that she decided that it was also some sort of a negative, not negative from the positive negative, but the negative from the picture, okay? The negative of the situation that Abraham is going to sacrifice his son Isaac. So we see the same thing, he's sacrificing his son. It's something very similar that Ishmael is also almost dying, but God is holding him and surviving him because he is the son of Abraham. But how exactly he's surviving him? He is showing them that there is a well there. Fair enough, but we need to realize what was this well. So for that, we need to jump for a moment to, I'm going to jump to 2 chapters, okay? So let's jump for a chapter before that, chapter, I think 16, sorry. So we move to 17, if I remember correctly, it's 16. Yes, this is chapter 16, when Sarah is saying to Abraham, take my servant and she will give me a birth. It's before Isaac was born. And if you will see that she's running away from Sarah. She was very naughty with Sarah, so Sarah is doing very hard work on the servant, and she ran away from her. Please read for a moment, chapter
Verse
7. Yes.
And an angel of the Lord found her by a water fountain in the desert, and by a fountain on the road to Shur.
And then he is giving her a lot of blessings. Okay. And she's calling him. Please read verse number 13 and then
and
14.
She
and
called the name of the Lord who had spoken to her. You are the God of seeing, because she said, have I seen him here also after I have seen?
Therefore,
the well was called Bir Lachai Roy. Behold, it is between Kadesh and between Bered.
Now,
and Hagar bore a son to Abraham.
Yes, but it's amazing to see that they didn't translate this word, Be'er Lachai Ro'i. What is Be'er Lachai Ro'i? Okay, Be'er Lachai Ro'i, it's in Hebrew, but they just, said the same words, just
transliterated
it in Hebrew,
rather
but
than
it's not without it.
translated.
Be'er Lachai Ro'i Be'er is the place where the well. Be'er is the well. Okay. Lachai Roi is to live. Lachai, Chai is living, and Roi is to see, where God is seeing everything and giving life to everybody. So this well is the place of giving life. We're speaking about chapter 16, the well of Ishmael. I'll call it like that. The well that is standing the beginning of Ishmael. We will find it again. We will hear it about this again, about this well again, when Sarah is dying. Sarah, okay, Abraham's wife is dying, and Isaac is going to bring Hagar back to Abraham, okay? And this will be in chapter 20, not 22, 24, sorry, 24. In chapter 24, at the end of chapter 24, when the servant is going to bring Rebecca, and he is finding her, where is he finding her? On the well. Amazing, again, finding her on the well. Today we're speaking about the well. And at the end, she's going with the servants. It's a very long story. We'll read it. It's a very interesting story and everything else. And she's going with the servants. Just a moment, let me find the verses. Please read verse number 61 and 62.
61. And Rebekah and her maidens arose and rode on the camels, and they followed the man. And the servant took Rebekah and left. Now Isaac was on his way, coming from Beer Lachai Roi, and he dwelt in the land of the south.
From where did he came? From where the place that Hagar was living. He brought back Hagar to Abraham. Okay, we will see this again, that Abraham will have more kids after that. And he is coming from there to bring more life to Abraham, to the world, whatever it is. And this is also where Rebecca will find Abraham, okay? She will find Isaac, sorry, okay? So please read verses number 63 and 64.
And Isaac went forth to pray in the fields towards evening, and he lifted his eyes and saw, and behold, camels were approaching. And Rebekah lifted her eyes and saw Isaac, and she let herself down from the camel.
And then she said, "Who is this the servant? Who is this man?" And he's answering her, he is my servant, or he's my master, sorry. And she took the veil and covered herself, just like Angela is trying to do a lot of veils and everything. You see in the Facebook, she did it. Remember Angelica Tumansky? I mean, that all of the things that she did. Fair enough.
Covers her head, yeah, head coverings.
Fair enough. No, but what we're trying to show here again, how much this will is important, I will say, in the eyes, especially in Genesis, okay, to start to realize that it's the connection point between the nature that God left here in this world, left us, and the working or the doing that we have as human with this connection, with this relationship with God, and the blessings that it's giving to the world. Coming along the history of Genesis, along all of the book of Genesis, it will continue on again with also with Jacob, and as I said, also I mentioned also with Moses later on. Now from this we're coming to another stage. Okay, another stage. What is another stage? Our sages are saying that the prayer is also something that is related, just like the will, where you're trying to take out from your inside towards God. Okay, and this is something already that Bart sent me, and it's true, but this is something very, after you're starting to understand what is the will and how much it's important, why everybody is fighting here, and that it's also reminding us the Temple Mount, as we can see in the Isaac story. And this is why also the next stages of the history is all the time coming through the will, okay? Abraham is related with the will. Isaac will find his wife on the well, or his servant will find for him his wife on the well. Jacob will find his continuous on the well. Moses will find his
It's central to life. Yeah, central to life
light
in a lot of respects. Yeah.
in the well, and then so everything there is coming through the well. So the sages are saying to us, look, also the prayer is to try to get really connected deep inside to the spark that God gave you, to the part of the soul that God gave you inside.
Oh, yeah,
and
well put.
bring this to be connected with God. I don't know if you ever asked yourself why the fire is all the time going upwards, while the water is all the time going downwards. Why this is in the nature? Now it's very simple. It's written down already. I don't remember how to say it in English. It's called the Cohelet. Okay, one of the most that Solomon said. I'm sure this from the name, but it's written down.
Ecclesiastes, yeah.
Yes, it is fine. Because the water is going to their source, and the source is the sea. Fine. So the water is going downwards, trying to go to the sea. The fire is also going to their source. What is the source of the fire? The sun. So the fire is going upwards. But the prayer is more like a well. You're trying to seek inside yourself and to get the insider to go outside back to God. God is, is the spiritual side, while we are all here in the Geshem. Geshem is raining, okay? Is the physical side. And we want to get connected back to God. So the well is also the place, or it's imitating in some sort of a way, the way of prayer. So this is another, I will say, deep understanding of the well. I think I spoke too much for tonight. This is time that you can ask me questions and whatever it is. And please feel comfortable, all of you.
Rabbi, I have a question online from John Riggs. He asks, can the well and its water be analogous to Torah?
Of course. Now, that depends what Torah we're speaking about. Okay, there are two, we said more than once. In the Hebrew tradition, and it's a free course on Udemy, you can find it also there. In the Hebrew tradition, we have the written Torah. Okay, this is more or less like the rain God gave us. That's it. You have nothing to say about it. And there is also the oral Torah that is coming from the sages. Okay, it's coming from the ground, growing up and getting connected with God. The oral Torah is like the world. Yes, you're right.
Beautiful.
I have one. I put a little note there, but Exodus 23:25 speaks of, quote, you shall worship Hashem your Elohim, and he will bless your bread and your waters, and I will remove sickness from your midst. This is about the waters again, and it's just a way. I just love the way it all ties together with the teaching for last week. It's always something how it ties together. Beautiful lesson. I'm getting chills from it. It's just beautiful. Thank you, Rabbi.
You're welcome. You're reminding me that we can speak about the well of the Miriam. Okay, she was also a prophet, sister of Moses. And this is we can dwell inside to the well of Miriam, but we spoke about enough. I think that you have all the
tools.
You have already all the tools to understand this story. That we have it twice. We have it once in the, as you mentioned, in the Exodus, and we have it also in Numbers. Okay, fair enough. Yes, more notes, questions, things that you want to ask, to add. Not all of you together, everything is fine. You can do it one by one. But I agree that it was a bit hard, but you found things in the stream of I will call it the Chabad side, but it's okay. So I see that everybody is very shy today. Fine. Everything is.
So the fire inside of you, that is the spark of God? No?
The fire inside of you, no, the life inside of you is a spark of God. We say it like that, the
Okay.
soul.
Yes.
The part that is alive inside of you is, it's with a lot of levels inside.
Okay.
There are more and more levels. I must say that you gave us this week a lot of inspiration with the things that you did with the mayor of the town there, that you gave him the book, and it gave us a lot of inspiration. We felt very lucky for that, and it shows that we can all do a lot of things even outside of the box.
Yes.
So thank you very much for that also.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay. Fine. So let me ask, if I say that everybody is very shy. Lee, from South Africa, can you hear us? Lee is
Yes, I can, Rabbi.
Excellent. Lee, I sent you today the Brit Shalom and the Brit Olam book but I sent you also the way how to read it and how to take it out. It's an ebook. An ebook is supposed to have some sort of how do you call it? You need to take down. You need to download from Google.
Kindle edition.
Kindle edition or Google Play, something like Moon Reader or something like that. Okay.
I haven't received it yet. I have spoken to Frank, but maybe it's in my spam box. I just haven't had time because I've been involved in the meeting. So I'll look and I'll let you know whenever if I've got it or not.
Okay.
But thank you very much.
Not a problem. Fine. Did you all saw the message that we sent this week? I will tell you that on the influences, okay? We sent a message about deeds before creeds. I don't know if you saw that. If you didn't saw that, so go and see that. It's a hard one. It's a good one, but it's something that I remember that in one time that I was in Lithuania, people spoke with me, Noahide people spoke with me about the hardest situation of moving to realize that you need also to act in the right way if you want to become a Noahide. It's not enough just to believe like a Noahide, you need also to do actions. And this is also one of the reasons why we wrote down the Brit Shalom book. It's a very short one, a very simple one, that is showing the way how to behave as a Noahide. And it's not only to stay on the level of all sorts of ideas, a big vision up there, but also to behave.
Yeah.
So this is what we
put it into action. Learn and also to do. Learn in order to do.
Exactly. It's very hard. This understanding. I understand that it's very hard, especially if you're going out from the Christian world. This is what people told me. I'm not.
Yeah. It's all about believing and staying in your mind there.
Excellent. So we gave a message about this, and we're going to give another message about this soon also. So be aware. Go inside. Be with us on the influences. Take the advantage of doing things, actions. Don't stay behind only.
Beautiful.
Lots
of
more
opportunity.
Notes, more questions that people want to say. You can speak about other things also. I have another few minutes.
Yeah, I've got a comment from Jamie that says, beautiful lesson for today. It is an awakening and a realization of truth about the well. People are thankful. I have no questions on YouTube. It's been pretty quiet in the chat room on YouTube. But beautiful lesson.
Rabbi, I've got a question.
Yes, Lee. Yes.
I was going to ask you, I was going to wait for Wednesday. They were talking about circumcision and stuff like that. Does that only relate to the Jewish people? Because in Genesis it says that anybody a part of Abraham's nations or any children of Abraham or any of the slaves that Abraham bought needs to be circumcised to enter into the next world, the new world. Or is that only related to the Jewish nations, or how do we know we're from any of Abraham's nations anyway?
I'm not sure that we did it. Let's try to do this for a moment, okay? Not Melachim. Just a moment. No. Okay, let's look for a moment. I will share the screen for a moment because all the time people asking me about this. So I want to show this for a moment. You don't see my screen, right? So let me
Not
share
yet,
the screen
Rabbi,
for a
no.
moment. Just a moment, let me share the screen. I need to show this inside the screen, just a moment. Give me for a moment.
Yes, you showed some of this last week. I found that quite profound. Thank you so much, Rabbi. Beautiful.
Please read. It's from the Maimonides when he's speaking about the Noahide people and what they must do, they don't need to do, and everything else. So please read.
Number 7.
Just a moment. Just a moment. Let me find the exact point.
9. The
No,
Gentile.
just a moment. No, I don't find it. Just a moment. I need to find it exactly. No, I need to open the. Sorry, I need to open the.
Another book.
I need to open. You see what I have in my in my.
Yeah,
I need to
just tell
open
me
the,
what page, Rabbi. I've got mine right here in front of me.
Fine. No. I won't do it now. Basically, every person in this world who wants to do circumcision, it's okay, and we are obeyed the Hebrew nation. We must help him to do that if he wants to do that. This is what I want to say, and I'm asking if someone wants to do that. First of all, think good with yourself. If you want to do that, you don't need to do that. Okay, but if you want to do that, this is the part of the lesson that is related only to the boys, not to the girls. I'm sorry. If you want to do that, so do this in the right way in the hospital with doctors. Don't do this. It's not a game.
Don't try that at home. Yes.
Don't try this at home. Yes, exactly. Okay. But again, it's not something that you must do, but you can do. But
So it's not commanded.
Sorry?
It's not commanded for the Noahides.
It's not commanded for the Noahide, not at all. No. Okay.
Thanks, Rabbi.
I have a question, Rabbi, please.
Yes, Italo, yes.
It's about the ramifications of the 7 laws. What are they? Are there different sets of lists and different numbers of laws? Is there an argument on which laws a Noahide has to follow?
I said it more than once, but I will say this again. It's not a problem at all. It's very important to mention this again and again and again. The Maimonides is speaking about 6 laws to Adam and Eve, and Noach is the 7th law because not to eat from a living limb. This is what the Maimonides is saying. On the other side, we find in the Babylon Talmud, in the Chulin part, that there is 31 mitzvot for the Noahide. And we find also other things in the Mishnah, in our oral Bible, about other things that Noahide people can also do. And because in the last 2,000 years we were in an exile, we didn't really dealt with this issue. The last time that we dealt with this issue was when King Solomon was here. We had the Temple Mount, and a lot of non-Jewish people came to sacrifice their things in the Temple Mount. And we had a lot of people that came here to Israel to do that. So in the diaspora, when we were in the diaspora, the only thing that we were doing is trying to survive. We dealt with a lot of issues that are inside the Hebrew nation. And we forgot a lot of things. And only in the last 100 years, our sages started to look
Review,
inside
dig.
And this is where we have a range of ideas inside the sages, from Rabbi Moshe Feinstein, okay, that is allowing only to pray from the 7 laws, to other big, great rabbis, the Khatam Sofer, the Mishnah Brura, who is explaining like that, the Shulchan Aruch, Rabbi Yosef Karo. I'm saying those words because of
The connections are
Hebrew
being
rabbis that are going
reestablished,
to
yes.
look on this thing, okay? The Magen Avraham, who is explaining the same thing about Rabbi Yosef Karo in the Shulchan Aruch, that they are giving permission to a Noahide also to keep full Shabbat. Okay, so we have this range of rabbis between those who are allowing only to pray and those who are giving more things to do. We are holding that you can do everything, almost everything, okay? It's not, there are 2 things that are still only permitted or only related to the Hebrew nation, like tefillin, like the tzitzit.
Right.
But the rest of the things, or the most of the things you can do, also putting mezuzah on your door, when we're saying that do it in a unique way, that it will be clear that it's a Noahide mezuzah and not a Jewish home. But fair enough, you can do a lot of things you can do and do. There are the rabbis who are saying that you're not allowed. It's okay. We are all the Jewish. Go under the guidance of the Jewish. The rabbis, not the conservative, not the reforms, but only the Orthodox rabbis. If you will stick after a rabbi that is saying to do something only in one part, it's okay. One of the things that really upsetted me last week, I had a long discussion with the person who is in charge. I had a long discussion. There are 2 people who came to me last week that they know a lot of people in the world that are looking for the Noahide movement. And one of them spoke with me about things that is happening in South America, the south side of America, where a lot of people trying to convert to Judaism, and they are leaving the Christianity and converting, not for coming to Israel, but to live as a Jewish person there. And they stopped working on Shabbat. They're starving for death. And I think that this is really wrong to guide those people in this way. They can be an Noahide, and they can work on Shabbat. You know, don't put people on a place where they won't be able to live. It's something there is
It's
wrong.
counterintuitive, yes.
I don't know who is doing those things. And I was really upset, you know, for hearing those things in places where it's really damaging others. I don't know why. I don't know why people are doing this. I don't know. And some of them are calling themselves also rabbis. I don't know. Believe me, I really don't know what is happening there. Something there is not sitting in the right.
Yeah, fill me in when you have some time, Rabbi, and I'll get to the bottom of it.
Fine. This is in South America. So I gave you a full answer. Again, I'm saying this from time to time, but it's okay.
Are there plans to have an agreement between all the Orthodox rabbis? Are they plans to have a discussion on those laws to put it up to date?
First of all, we did it. This book, if you see this book, we have the acceptance, the agreement, okay, acknowledgement of the chief rabbis of Israel and other rabbis in Israel, and a lot of discussions at the end of the book between rabbis of Israel about all sorts of details. But this is mainly the main book of the rabbis of Israel who accepted this way. Okay? Now, there are some rabbis in all sorts of places of the world who are speaking a bit differently. Fair enough. I'm not saying anything because they have Rabbi Feinstein that they can go after him. But if you're asking the main root of the rabbis of Israel, you have this book. It's in your place. It's very simple, very
So
cheap.
You have a list. In that book, you have the list of
Yeah.
all the.
Yeah, exactly. The chief rabbis of Israel. And also in the prayer book, you will find the chief rabbis of Israel, of the former chief rabbis of Israel, and you can find there the main chief rabbi of Israel from 20 years ago. You will see that all the rabbis here are getting together and acknowledging and accepting this way.
Beautiful. Awesome. Exciting stuff.
Hans, good to see you also. I need to go now. Okay, Fred.
I need to go to
Good
bed.
to
I've
see
been
you
up
also.
all night.
Fair enough.
I missed
See
you
you
all last
next
week. And once again, I want to give a shout out to the Murdochs, Ariel and Nathan, last week for mentioning that they were expecting. Always glad to hear good news. And that was a joyous announcement. I wish you guys well. So Rabbi,
See you
Hashem
all.
willing, are we on for next week?
We on for next week. We on. Yes.
All right, folks. So we're going to sign out for now, and we will be back next week, same time, with more of the Genesis class. We hope you're enjoying it. Make sure you're prepared if you got some questions. If you want to put them in the chat box, bring them for next week, and we'll make sure we get them in at the chat question period. So till then, have a wonderful, wonderful week, everybody. Bye for now.